I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. It's the Monday show. You know what that means. She comes in every Monday, and she's been doing this for about 13, 14 years. Wow, this show's been going on forever.
Oh, God.
Show's getting a little long in the tooth.
I know.
This woman was in her 30s when we started this show.
Now
And she's
I'm
in her
102.
I'm talking about the beautiful, you're listening to her voice. Probably the best voice, not just in podcasts today, but across all media. I'm talking about the beautiful Miss Anna Vocino. Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
How does it feel to work with the worst voice in podcasting? That's got to suck on some level.
You're not the worst voice in
Oh,
podcasting.
God. I got the wonkiest.
But you know who has the nicest voice in podcasting?
Mike Rowe.
Oh gosh, yeah. Okay, that's good. I was thinking of Stephen Bartlett from Diary of a CEO.
I don't know.
He has the most soothing. Oh, you would like that podcast.
You know what? I'll give it a listen.
Yeah.
Send me a,
and you'll know what I'm talking about when you hear his voice. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm so soothed, and also I'm learning something. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
Well, you see,
Mike
your
Rowe,
voice does that on the female side.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you have that voice. So
I always said my favorite sound in the world is walking into an audition when we used to do them in person, and everybody would be in the room chatting, and it's everybody in your voice print, just chatting, and all the ladies just chatting away with these voices, and it just sounded like little birds chirping, little bells pealing. Voiceover people have nice voices. It's nice to hear.
You know the weirdest group of people I ever had to work with? Remember, I was a pretty famous hand model back in the day.
Yes.
My hand was more famous than my face, way more. And
you have good hands.
Well, yeah, I have a masculine hand.
Yeah, you do.
Right? It's a big.
And you have those like nice nail beds. Like your nail beds are like.
Yeah. Like I was always holding a crescent wrench or a hammer, or as you know, I played Jesus and Moses. Yeah,
did you hold the Chapel? Oh, you did for the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, and that was done
I
with.
thought you meant you held tablets with your masculine hand.
No. They had my hand in one scene coming out of the clouds, and then the other hand coming up. They shot this, and then they shot this hand, and it was for Philips. Philips had a new tube out, like some kind of tube for the industry, and they they had the two hands with the Philips tube in between. And they recreated, so I was Moses and Jesus. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or God, I guess God.
I thought it was God and Jesus, but I don't know. I don't know from Michelangelo.
Yeah, Michelangelo was busy painting, and there's a couple of prophets up there with the hands.
A couple of 2, 3.
And by the way, it turns out, I didn't know this, but it turns out that God and Jesus didn't have hair on their arms because they shaved me up to here.
I was going to ask you, did they shave the hair on your knuckles and your hands before the photo shoot?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I wasn't allowed to shave it myself by contract.
Well, yeah, because you might nick yourself or something.
And I would always say to him, I'm going to be better than someone who's never shaved my hands before.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. You cannot take a razor. You'll lose the job if you do it. Right. If you
maybe they wanted to do it fresh the morning of too.
Oh, they did it like there because they would put makeup on your hands and everything.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
I'm surprised they didn't have you wax it a day or two before.
No, they would just shave right there on the spot. Just a good clean shave, and boom. And they did it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the man who had his hand shaved by some other person.
Who, by the way,
purposes of art and commerce.
And you know the story. And by the way, this whole thing today is going to be, both Anna and I watched the Netflix thing that's going viral.
The Biggest Loser documentary.
The Biggest Loser documentary. It's a 3-part series.
It's a 3-part series in 3 parts.
But before I get to that, I've always said that the whole Seinfeld, Jason, what's his name? George becoming a hand model.
Yeah.
Was taken from me, but they will never admit it. I was training one of the writer producers of the show, and
I know. Oh, yeah, I know who that is. Yeah.
And then after the show came out, I said, Carol, that's so cool because we were talking, because Carol saw me the day after when my arms were shaved up to here. And she was talking,
Right.
she goes, you look like a poodle. Your arms look like poodle arms.
Yeah.
And she started asking me what it was like being a hand model. And we walked for about 3 hours that day in the mountains. And there was another woman there, Elise. I'm not going to say her last name, but Elise was there, another producer's wife. And we had a whole conversation about me looking like a poodle and what it was like being a hand model and the whole thing. And then a few months later, just surreptitiously, the show comes out on, Seinfeld of Jason, what's his name?
If it was just a few months later, then you know that they wrote it after they talked to you and shot it, because it takes about the 3-month lag time.
Yeah, it was during the writing season, and they have to come in with ideas every week.
1,000%. That's based on your poodle arm.
I think Nancy Wolfson, our friend, even went, "Oh my God, did you see Seinfeld? They did you." Right? And I was like, I know, isn't that great? And I saw Leifer, and I was like, hey, that's so cool. And she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, come on, Carol, I'm not suing. I don't want money or anything. I'm just glad you guys did me. She was like,
she wouldn't acquiesce.
And I said, Carol, we talked about, remember poodle? My hand was cut like a poodle and the whole thing. And she goes, I don't know. That doesn't.
Rude, Carol.
And Elise was right there. She was like, Carol, we were walking. She goes, we were walking on West Ridge. And we got the biggest laugh out of that for like a half an hour. We were talking. And she was like, you guys are insane. I don't know what you're talking about. She
committed to the non-remembrance.
She was like, I'm not giving this up.
She was not going to yield.
Yeah, because they worry about that stuff. It's like, I'm not coming after you. She goes like, I don't know what you're talking about, and she would never say it.
You have Elise as third party.
I have another person who was there who said, absolutely, the conversation happened. Anyway, all right. Since we're talking about television,
yes. Did you watch The Biggest Loser back when it was in its heyday?
Okay, I want to start with that.
Because I didn't.
No, but every now and again, I would walk through a room when it was on, and I would make comments about it.
Sure, yes.
One of my comments was, and I want to go back even further than this before the show started, because I have some stuff. I would walk through the room. Serena would have it on every now and again, and I would say, Serena, every time I come in here, they have morbidly obese people looking like idiots. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, they have figured out every which way to put the protection helmets on them and the life vests that don't fit. I said, you ever notice they got them doing stuff over water where they have to put a life vest on them that doesn't fit, and they look goofy, and they're trying to make them. I said, they're making fun of these people. I can't believe that they're allowing people to make fun of fat people on television. She's like, that's a very interesting. She goes, I never thought of that. I was like, yeah, they're making fun of them.
That's why I never watched it, because it hurt my feelings, because I was like, I feel like this isn't right. And of course, I was familiar with it, because how could you not? It was a cultural phenomenon at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one time I walked through the room and they had them passing. I can't really remember what it was, but they had them like passing donuts with their mouth to another person. Oh. They had them like they had their hands tied and they had to move like food around
party games with carbs. Yeah.
And I'm like, you got to be effing kidding me, man. I cannot believe that they're doing this to these people. Why isn't anyone, and it's like, oh man, this is the biggest show on television. What are you, they're helping people lose weight. Some of these people lose 14 pounds a week. And then, all right, so let me go back to the beginning, because I want to say this and I'm more interested in your thoughts on it, because I have a lot to say.
Oh, good. I want to hear it all.
Okay. Before the show started, I was aware that they were doing a show called The Biggest Loser and that they were looking for trainers. Over the years, people have asked me, why weren't you one of the trainers on The Biggest Loser? And I've often said this. They found 2 trainers who had no careers. That first year, I don't think people understand, they were paying Jillian Michaels, who's now a multimillionaire, and Bob Harper, who's now a multimillionaire. They were paying them nothing to be on the show, like $30,000, $35,000, some kind of minimum amount of
I
money.
bet it was even less than that because this is not a union show, so they wouldn't have made even scale.
It was nothing. And okay.
For a point of reference,
Okay,
Vanderpump Rules, which is one of the most popular reality shows of all time.
Right.
I know one of the gals who's extremely famous from that show. Her first season being on all 22 episodes, she got $5,000 for the whole season. But it launched her whole career.
They were paying more than that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I would think they would for network primetime, but just so that people know, just because someone's on TV doesn't mean they're making a ton of money.
That's correct. And so I remember I had a friend, I'm not going to mention her name, and she was doing another thing on television. She was before this show, they were using trainers on cable shows and whatever. And I remember her second season, they wanted her to re-up and they were going to move her up to $50,000. And she goes, I can't do this anymore. They take up all of your time. I had to drop clients. I lost so much money last year. So when this came around and I knew about The Biggest Loser, they were like, I had people call me because there's people, as you know, Anna, you don't have to go through the regular audition process. Right. When you know people in town, I was working with, I just mentioned one of the biggest, producers on Seinfeld. I'm working with a lot of big people. They're like, hey, this show is coming around. This would be perfect for you. And I said, thanks, but no thanks, because I couldn't take the pay hit, right? You would have to give up your career for a long time to go do this. And when you come back, your clients aren't going to be there. They're going to move on to other trainers. You would have to go find clients again.
Of course.
Yeah. So the only trainers they could get were trainers who were no good. I'm sorry to say that. I know Bob Harper goes, yeah, I was working with celebrities. No, he wasn't. If he was, he wouldn't have.
He said in the documentary.
Yeah.
That Julia Roberts loved him and that launched his career. But my question was, I thought she was one of the Haley Pasternak people. So yeah. I was confused. I was like, oh, he was Julia Roberts' trainer? That's
people claim to be the trainers. Like they meet them one time and they might do one workout and they'll go, yeah, I trained Julia Roberts. There's been a lot of people. I remember working with people and I would say, yeah, I understand you used to work with so-and-so. It's like, I don't know who that is. Right. That happened with me with a lot of my celebrity clients. They would go, I would go, yeah, I know you worked with who? People would just make it up. Right. So these guys were not training anyone special. They were not. I'm just telling you what the facts are. Okay, they become the trainers. As you noticed, they did what they did, and when Jillian's guy won that first season, she says it in the documentary. She goes, "I hugged him and said, thank you. You just made me a millionaire."
Yeah.
Right. And by the way, when they go back for that second season, they don't get a payday. The payday comes because Jillian Michaels knew that she can go hook her ass to anything, any product endorsements. That's where the money comes from, not from the show. The show will say, hey, sign up again and we make you famous. You can take your fame and go make money somewhere else.
And that's when you get the big agents who know how to parlay that into deals. And
right. That's why you saw Jillian Michaels hooking her ass to every product out there.
That's right. The original, basically the original fitness influencers in the first, like in Web 1.0 kind of,
Exactly. By the way, Anna, homemade kombucha.
Is that your kombucha?
Notice how thick it is.
He's holding up a glass of a refreshing beverage with a little sweat on the outside, a condensation on the outside, which makes me think it's nice and cold.
It's cold. And here's the thing. My kombucha it's basically, it tastes like apple cider vinegar. That's how I take it past. There's no sugar left in here. I'm telling you, I love the stuff. Anyway, that's where we start, right? That's why I was never considered for the show. I had an actual clientele that was making me good money. Now, in hindsight, if I knew I could have been the guy that could have taken that career and, unlike Jillian, done good things with it, that would have been a different story.
Right.
The problem is I could not sit there and yell at these poor people while they're on the treadmill puking and falling off. That's not helping anyone.
It was so upsetting. I couldn't watch it.
It's upsetting.
I couldn't even watch the clips in the documentary. I was just like, It all looked so dangerous. Like you were, it looked like they were trying to kill people. It looks like they almost did kill one lady.
Oh, they had to airlift her off the beach, right?
Yeah.
And they never explained why everyone on the show hated her, but, because I never watched the show, but apparently she was well hated on the show. But the other thing, there was so much that bothered me about this. Let's just move right ahead. We're going to go back to
How do we
Jillian and
even?
Bob.
I don't even know how to parse this down. I
Okay.
hope people watch it because you and I have discussed The Biggest Loser over the years, and especially because a big People magazine expose came out maybe like 8-10 years ago,
Right.
and you're like, yeah, no doy, like this all
Yeah.
happened. So it didn't feel that revolutionary, but it might feel that way if somebody hasn't listened to this podcast.
Okay, so let's talk about the contracts. This one woman goes, look, this was my saving grace. And they handed me, they wait till you get there and they isolate you. They take your phone away. They take everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go, hey, sign this contract. And this woman looks at the contract and goes, wait, can I get an attorney to look at this? And they went, yeah, you can get an attorney to look at it. But while you're doing that, there's 8 or 10 people right behind you ready
800
on the
people.
show.
800 people
And they'll
would take their spot.
sign
Yeah.
this contract right now. So you want to
They're
go
using
take a
FOMO
chance
and
on-
scarcity, like any good marketers would.
Right. So they badgered these people into signing these contracts, right? So that happens.
And I thought to myself, this is early reality show, which means those contracts were terrible.
Yeah.
This is before talent wised up and thought, well, wait a minute. They
Yeah.
don't realize they're selling their likeness, their ownership in perpetuity. They're selling their ability for their likeness to be used on merchandise. Like they wanted you to sign. You didn't almost sign it because you didn't sign it. But that company that wanted you to sign your name away
several times.
yeah,
Several times.
to their brand. You don't know if you're the winner of The Biggest Loser. Guess what? They own your ass.
Yeah, they give you $250,000, but they own you for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
That contract. Just an example. I had this great, back when infomercials were a thing, I had this thing, I poured a lot of money into it. It was a product that actually worked. And Guthrie Ranker, the biggest infomercial group out there, wanted the product. And I would hire an attorney. I didn't have enough money to have a retainer back then.
Right.
But I hired an attorney and he goes, I can't allow you to sign this contract. And I was like, I'll never get ahead. I'll never be able to get this. He goes, listen, even if you sell 10 million of these, this becomes as big as the Thigh Master. Yeah. He goes, you would make, if they sell 10 million, you'd probably make right at about $1 million. That's it. They would make the lion's share of the money. I went, yeah, but I would be out there. And he goes, yeah, but you can't go use your name because the bigger part of the contract is they would own the name Vinnie Tortorich into perpetuity.
Right. In perpetuity.
Yeah. Like
That's a
when you're
terrible
dead,
contract to sign.
when you're dead, your relatives can't even, they still own your name.
Right. Your relatives can't receive residuals on your estate.
Right.
It all goes to
this.
Right.
And I was like,
that's
how does that work? And it was like, and I remember it was right around the time Prince was going, I'm the artist formerly known as Prince. He didn't own the name Prince. That's what he was doing.
Right.
He was trying to get the name Prince back.
He was actually really smart to do it. I remember what a crazy snafu that was in the media, but he was actually saying like he was trying to get out of a contract.
Yeah.
Everybody did it in a big FU kind of way.
Yeah. So that, and a few other people have done that sort of thing where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, at first he couldn't call himself The Rock. So whenever he started doing movies, they would say Dwayne Johnson, formerly The Rock, right? And then they were able to go to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They were able to get away with that. And then WWE or whoever owned it said, oh, wait, this guy is getting bigger and bigger. We want to stay in business with him. We will let him use the name The Rock because now it's bigger than anything. So there are a lot of people, when you think about it, who really have to jump through hoops to use the name. Okay, that's that. Robert Heisinger, the doctor.
Dr. Huizinga.
Yeah. So here's the deal behind him. Anna, you read my book, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't recall every detail.
Okay, so I'm going to remind you of this.
Yes, please.
So it's the part when my friend, Dr. Garden, real name, she was a radiation oncologist and she owned the biggest radiation oncology place in Beverly Hills. She owned it, right? She owned the linear accelerator and everything. So she, Cedar Sinai wanted to work with her. Every big group in Beverly Hills wanted to work with her because they did a lot of business, right? Patty was the one that knew something was wrong with my blood, but she doesn't do blood.
Right.
And she sends me to a doctor. That doctor was Robert Heisinger. And she even told me, she goes, he's the doctor for The Biggest Loser. Right?
Okay.
If you remember in the book, and you probably don't, if anyone read Fitness Confidential, he does all of these tests, right? He even put me on a DEXA scan that day. They took blood 20 different ways. They took urine. They took fecal. They took every sample they could. They tested my blood every which way you could. Then Robert Heisinger walks in and he said, I wanted to meet the man that has a lower body fat percentage than me. What? This is what you're concerned about? I'm in here because there's something wrong with my blood. That's what you say to me? Oof. And it was because I was a cyclist and I was doing all these, the whole thing. All right.
Well, and he obviously came from the fitness world.
Yeah, he loves being, he's very, very into his own look. Mm-hmm. And you can tell that in the show. He's older. You can
tell that because he hasn't changed his hairdo since he was probably in his, what he considers his heyday.
Right.
Which that's always a sign of concern when somebody has the same hairdo from when they peaked.
Yeah. And he was the doctor for the Raiders. And the reason he was a young doctor, if you remember in the documentary, he was the doctor for the Raiders when they said, hey, you were a wrestler in college. He goes, yeah. He goes, so you understand playing hurt. So he understood what they meant by that. Mm-hmm. No matter how hurt these guys are, keep them on the field.
Get them back on the field. Yep.
Right. So this guy, he was the guy, if you're in my book, when after I got everything tested, I was having dinner with Dr. Garden that night, and she goes, what did Robert figure out? Meaning Robert Heisinger. And I said, he says that he can't figure out what's wrong with me. He wants to play with my poopy some more. They wanted me to send samples of my shit in for the next 2 weeks in envelopes. They give you these special things. Yeah. And you just, every day you pack your crap up and you send it up. Mm-hmm. And Patty did that thing you see in movies where she just threw her fork down on her plate. And I said, Patty, if you know what's wrong with me, why? She goes, I don't know what's wrong. I just know that something is wrong. She goes, I have thoughts, but I don't even want to say it yet. I thought Robert would be able to figure it out, but he didn't. Now, this does not make Robert Heisinger a bad doctor. He's just a doctor that I went to that did 1,000 tests and I walked out. Now, I'll say this, had he been a good doctor, he would have known I was probably a month away from dying because I went and saw a different doctor the next day, a hematologist who does nothing but studies blood over at Cedar Sinai. And that's the woman that did the bone marrow biopsy with no anesthesia because I said, do it right here in the office right now. Dr. Garden was there with me. She held my hand while I laid there, and the woman went in with that 10-penny nail to get the bone marrow biopsy. And
why didn't Dr. Gordon send you straight to the hematologist if she knew it was blood related?
She knew it was blood related, and she knew that Robert Heisinger had this clinic where they do this.
They can do so many tests.
Testing.
Yeah.
And he just dismissed it. Yeah. He was like, I don't know.
That's another reason why sometimes you got to get a second, third, fourth opinion, you guys.
And by the way, he told me, he goes, you need to eat more. You're too lean. I was like, Doc, I'm eating everything and I just keep dropping weight and I'm losing energy and I'm cold all the time. I told him all the things.
Yeah.
He was too busy fixing his hair.
Right.
I don't know. He just didn't. For him to miss it, and then another doctor 2 days later to go, you have leukemia. And I was like, what stage? And she was like, pick a stage. You're about to die. I'm like,
Yeah.
oof, really? She's like, yeah, we don't know how you were riding a bike. None of that makes sense. Your blood is like Kool-Aid. And Robert Heisinger took a ton of blood 2 days earlier. I don't know. I don't know how one doctor misses it. The next doctor goes, yeah. But that's the guy who's the lead doctor for The Biggest Loser.
Right.
And I don't believe for 1 minute, and this is my thoughts, these are my thoughts, when he was going, I don't know. I told the trainers not to do this stuff, but I don't know what they were doing. You're the doctor for the show. You're the one that's supposed to protect these people who signed a really bad contract. And you're sitting there all high and mighty going, I don't know. And then Bob Harper is acting like an ass going, I don't know, these people, I don't know. We had a doctor. I don't know. They're all blaming it. They're all pointing a finger in 20 different directions. And I just heard that Jillian Michaels is ready to sue everybody. She's ready to sue the show. And
now, you mean now?
Yeah. I saw that online today. I don't know how true it is. She's ready to sue everyone going, I didn't give anyone caffeine pills.
But here's the thing. I want to talk about the caffeine pills separately. Hold on. Before we get to that. Here's the thing. I definitely thought in this documentary, they were trying to paint Dr. Huizenga as if he was he got off scot-free and he did everything right.
Right.
That's the impression I got.
Yeah. That's the impression I got too.
I don't think that anybody will ever cop to the fact that we did The Biggest Loser because it's exploitative and it's entertaining. And then if it helped people along the way, great. But our number one goal is to get people to tune in. Nobody will say those words.
Yes.
And maybe, is it Audrey or Aubrey? I don't remember her name, but she hosts the Maintenance Phase podcast, which is actually a podcast I do enjoy. I didn't know she was on Biggest Loser. I had no idea. I was like, oh, I know her voice. She seemed like the only one who was actually saying anything negative other than the people talking about their firsthand experiences. And I thought that was strange. That's why I'm saying I did. She was season 7 or 8.
Yeah, I don't know the season.
She has like the sandy brown hair. And she has kind of like a voice, a little deeper voice.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And she was talking about, kind of like the tropes of making fun of fat people
that
were executed during the show.
The short hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I can't remember her name is Audrey or Aubrey, but
okay.
Yeah, I actually really thought that it could have gone harder than it did. I wanted somebody to be like, what happened on this show was wrong. They did a good job of letting you draw your own conclusion, but they didn't hammer it. I'll be honest. I thought they could have hammered it more how unhealthy and dangerous that show was. And for that show to be on for so many years, and for the people who even said that when that Tracy woman said, I didn't want to go home, and she intonated her husband was abusive to her.
Right.
He's definitely cheating on her, if not physically abusive. She didn't want to go home. That was her only option. So she was basically like, humiliate yourself and be hated by America or go home to your abuser. It was so sad.
Yeah. And I may or may not have shed a tear too watching the show because I work with so many morbidly obese people. I know what they go through. I know how hard it is. And when you got, someone in your face yelling at you, nobody deserves that. Nobody wants that. I get that it makes good television. The fact that they would tempt them with all these carbs every day, all day.
Oh, the temptation challenge was despicable. It didn't make sense, by the way.
None of it made sense.
Don't eat any calories. The trainers would say eat 800 fewer calories, even though they were working out 6,000 calories a day.
Right.
And then they would say, okay, now we're doing a temptation challenge. And if you eat enough calories, then we'll send you home to see your family for 5 minutes. I didn't even understand it. It made no sense to me.
Yeah. None of it made sense to me. I'm glad I never watched the show. Oof. There's so much here. There's so
Can we
much
talk about
there.
caffeine pills before we talk about Villa Capelli olive oil?
Yeah, let's talk about the caffeine pills. So,
Okay, here's where I'm confused. They said they banned coffee. Now, I know coffee is often demonized, and I don't know why, because I think it's a wonderful beverage and my favorite. It's my drug of choice.
right.
But I mean, is caffeine banned? Like if you're doing sports, you can't drink a cup of coffee before you do sports? I don't understand.
So caffeine is a natural ergogenic, right?
Meaning it'll help you work harder.
Yeah, it delays the feeling of it gives you.
Suppressant.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it makes you feel like it lowers the exertion rate, right? So you can work a lot harder when you're on coffee. It's a great ergogenic. Athletes have been using it for years. It is banned by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, only if you have extraordinary amounts of caffeine in your system. Okay. No one has ever been banned for using caffeine in the Olympics. It's at their discretion. And since coffee is used around the world, they have it there for their use if they want to use it. Heisinger said, hey, we said no coffee, no nothing. But these people are like, yeah, we're drinking coffee and we're taking caffeine pills, right? So which is it, right? If you're the doctor that's overseeing the show and then the show, you tell the show what to do, and then the show is not doing any of it, and everybody's throwing their hands up, the producer's going, I don't know, the trainer said to do this and Heisinger said to do that. They're all just kind of throwing their hands up as if everyone's innocent, and no one is innocent. Everyone's acting like they didn't know what was going on. How did I know what was going on before the show started? I'm not that smart, but I knew what was going to go on.
Yeah.
Right. And it just became this head case of these trainers going, I need to win this season because then I can cash in at the end of the season. Right. So that's what that was. Right. The whole thing was just, I was nauseous just watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was rough. It was just rough to watch.
I found a headline saying Jillian Michaels blasts Biggest Loser doc as an egregious lie, debating legal action. Fitness guru in talks with Biggest Loser executive producers to create their own documentary. Okay, girl, get it.
All right.
Get after it.
She seems to
have fun creating a documentary, by the way. Ask my friend Vinnie how hard it is.
And by the way, I guarantee you that Heisinger had a lawyer right off camera the entire time. He did not go and do that documentary without an attorney right next to him.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Anytime this is what happened. They asked him a question, and then he would turn to the attorney. The attorney would say, you can say A, B, C, and D, and then he would turn back and answer it, except they would edit out all that part. Right. I know how this works. I've done 4 documentaries, right? The interviews take forever because no one wants anything on camera that can make them look bad.
Right.
Just the way it goes. Right. So, yeah, go on.
Villa Capelli olive oil, and then I want to talk about some of the contestants and where they are now.
Yeah.
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 One thing I was not on The Biggest Loser, which probably would have helped everything be better, is Villa Capelli olive oil.
It was not there.
It was not there.
No, they would have considered that too many calories.
Too many calories, but not in NSNG world. We love olive oil. We don't demonize olive oil. We canonize olive oil.
Yeah.
We sainthood it. We canonically put it up into the sky. We worship it. We worship at the olive altar.
I go to the Catholic church and I get the water and I sprinkle it, and then I get the incense or whatever they use, and I do that. I get the smoke on it. I do all of it. I don't think you can canonize something that's not a saint. Can we make olive oil a saint?
Yeah.
Saint oil of olive?
Yeah. Saint Capelli. You know what we'll do? Let's make Paul Capelli a saint because he gave us Villa Capelli olive oil.
He deserves to be a saint. I mean, if you can make Mother Teresa, is Mother Teresa a saint? Did they make her a saint?
Sure. I don't know.
Then Paul Capelli should be a saint.
Well, you and I have by the authority vested in us by being Italian, we
Mm-hmm.
officially make Paul Capelli a saint. So if you want Saint Capelli's golden elixir
Mm-hmm.
straight from God's green earth into your kitchen, go to villacapelli.com. Use the discount code Vinnie, Vinnie. You'll get 10% off your order each and every time. Make sure you get that cart size up to about 140, 145 bucks. Then when you use the discount code Vinnie, you still qualify for free shipping. It is the best olive oil on the planet. It is clean, clean, clean. And I wouldn't trust the grocery store olive oils. Once you taste this one, you're going to understand why. It's delish.
All right, so let's move on to the contestants.
Yes.
All right. They used King Gillette Ranch to film this out in Calabasas. It's out there. You know where Tallulah's dad lives, way out there? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
All right. There's a ranch out there, and that's where I used to do all my training on the bicycle, because there's big, long roads and everything else forever and ever and ever, hundreds of miles. And I would pass by there all the time. You knew when they were filming because you would see the buses coming and going with all the contestants, because they would bring them places to do things, kind of like the 1 mile run. Now, I didn't really understand what the game was. It was like, you have to run this 1 mile in order to make it on the show. What was that, Anna? Did you get what it was?
It's like you're running the final mile of the Biggest Loser marathon. And as long as you run that mile, then whoever doesn't make it over the finish line won't be on the show. But then I was like, is this part of the show? Did they show? I didn't understand. I didn't watch the show, so I didn't understand the context.
I didn't either.
A lot of it, I feel like, probably made more sense to people who were religious watchers of the show.
Right.
But this woman, she bonked, basically. I think that's my understanding of what happened. She bonked and then went into like organ failure, which was so scary.
Which means she was probably already, before the run started. Now, you know how hot it gets out in that area.
Yeah.
I know that area very well. And you do too. It can get to easily 100 degrees with no humidity, and your body just becomes a wick. And if you're eating low calories and you're not drinking water or whatever because you're trying to get your weight down, you're suffering already. And then they tell these people who are morbidly obese, the word morbid is right in there, you got to run a mile, and if you don't make it. Now, this woman made a grave error. All she had to do was finish the 1 mile. But so she took off too fast.
Right.
And
her adrenaline was going. She was going to, that's what she thought would make, but really she should have just slow and steady. Another proof that zone 2 training is better. Slow and steady.
Yeah.
Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast.
I think.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah. You used my thing that we use.
I know.
Slow, smooth.
I thought you'd be proud of me for remembering it.
No, I knew you did.
Okay.
All right. So did she end up with like rhabdo or something like that?
Something like that.
Organ failure?
Yeah.
Okay. So this woman is like, it looks like, I don't know if you ever saw the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Coming out of the desert, just hands and knees, trying to get to the finish line. It made for great television.
Yeah.
And this woman wasn't faking it. When she got there, she collapsed and she was out. And they got a helicopter in there to come grab her.
Yeah, they had to airlift her out. It was really
funny
looking. She
couldn't, she was in a hospital for a while. They juiced her back up and everything. Now, Heisinger let her back on the show. You would think at that point that if this doctor was worth the salt, knowing what goes on in the show, you would say, you're out.
That was shocking to me that they let her back on the show.
Okay. That's point number one, that Heisinger is all about Heisinger. And the fact that he said, hey, it's up to you. You want to go back to the show, you can go back. This woman had...
Instead of, no, ma'am, you are going home. No, ma'am.
Yeah. I mean, organ failure. And she goes, yeah,
Organ
yeah.
failure.
And they couldn't even let her exercise for like the first week. And then the trainers start yelling at her. How long are you going to pretend not to? Can you imagine?
I didn't even compute, because organ failure to me, I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you have a surgery, let's say, and everything goes well, you're going to be recovering for at least 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. So you had organ failure a week before, and now you're like, okay, you can exercise if you want. What?
Yeah, whenever you feel it, you can go. Okay.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but that part to me, I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
If I lined up 10 doctors and say, did Heisinger make the right decision? I guarantee you 9 will say, fuck no. That was a really bad decision to allow this person to go back on the show. Period. End of story. Right? There are guys, like when they do Race Across America, all the crazy shit I used to do. They would, like their lungs would start building up with fluid, or, all kinds of problems. They would have to pull you from the race. You would be in the hospital for a week or two while and then you couldn't get back on a bike or do anything for months, if ever.
Right.
Okay. This woman had the same sort of thing. She's back at the house in a week. Okay.
Is it really a week, or was it at least like 2 or 3 weeks?
I don't know what it was.
I don't even know the timeline.
That they allowed her on the show at that point. You see, if I was interviewing Heisinger on that show, I was going, how did you let this woman back?
Yeah.
What in your brain made you think it was okay? Were you willing to put your license on the line for this woman to go back? And apparently he was. He was willing to do that, which made 0 sense to me.
Made 0 sense.
Right? But there we are. She's back on the show. And then she gets ridiculed. Not only is her husband cheating on her, not only is he abusive at home on top of cheating on her, but now she's in a place where she went.
Where the internet hates her.
Yeah. Where the whole world is yelling at her. This poor woman couldn't catch a break edgewise. I mean, she just couldn't catch a break.
No.
Right.
So it makes me think too, in looking at this article where, Jillian Michaels is outraged at the way she was portrayed. I remember watching that show, or just catching glimpses or clips, or watching clips or whatever, of her screaming at people, and me thinking like, oh, that's so mean. And that whole thing of like, oh, if you scream, I'm breaking you down to build you up. It's like what a lot of acting teachers do out in Los Angeles too.
Yeah.
It's like that whole thing. They want to break you. And they're preying on vulnerable people that they can yell at. And that's the vibe I got. So when I see all these people getting yelled at, and then Bob Harper, they showed that, they told the whole story of Bob Harper losing his shit at Joelle, and who then became hated and then got in fights. Like they want you to get in fights. We want to watch fights when we're watching reality shows. We want to watch people have conflict, right? Conflict is exciting. But I always thought to myself, I'm always from the school of you catch more flies with honey, but I don't know. I just thought it was so weird and so toxic, and I can't believe that Jillian Michaels is anything but embarrassed that she used to just scream at people the way she did. It's so weird.
Yeah, the only thing I knew about Jillian, because just like you, whenever I saw anything with, she looked like she just smelled dog shit on her shoe, and she was always yelling. I went, okay, this woman has no talent. I would ask around about her, and everyone said she's not even a good trainer. She was some hack who ended up on the show.
Yeah.
Jillian's own admission was she was living in her mom's basement and couldn't get a job, didn't have it. And her mom said, Jillian, you have a really nice body. I hear a lot of these people are making money being trainers. Go call yourself a trainer. And that's how Jillian Michaels started her training career.
She does have an amazing body.
She does. Beautiful woman.
Great genetics. Yeah.
So I get
the yelling thing. I didn't understand.
That was her move. I'm going to be the tough. I'm going to yell at people. And look, she made a career out of it. Good for her. But the bottom line is,
did she ever like anybody? I never saw it. Did she ever? I don't know. Was she ever warm or friendly? Or was she just like, I don't know, like Simon Cowell, who is an asshole 99% of the time, but then when he likes somebody, you're like, holy shit! If Simon likes him, they must be good because he's such an asshole.
I'm sure she had that moment where she was nice to people and whatever. The show didn't show that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. But
I mean, she must. Nobody is that hating on
I don't
people.
know. I
That would
don't
be
know.
exhausting.
I
To be
could
that
get
negative
why,
all the time.
because she's trying to be Miss Political now and reinvent herself again because she has no other way of making money. So now she's going into the political realm. I wouldn't
What?
doubt it if she's. Oh, Jillian.
I didn't know this.
Jillian was on CNN the other day. She's a lesbian who says she's on the left, but she's pushing right wing talking point. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what she's
Oh,
trying to do.
how exciting. She's
Oh,
keeping, well, listen, she's keeping people tuning into her.
she's keeping herself relevant. She's trying to keep herself relevant. If you told me Jillian Michaels was going to run, mark this down.
Okay. You think she's going to run for
Jillian
office?
Michaels will be running for office at some point.
All right.
I guarantee
You
you.
heard it here first, folks.
And you'll go, that's crazy. That's nuts. That's crazy. Look at
She's
some of
gonna
the
do it.
people who have been put in office recently and tell me I'm crazy.
Well, she's kind of perfect for it because she shills for corporations.
Yeah.
She recommends things that aren't necessarily good for you or healthy.
Right.
And
And look, she's
put
willing.
her on the pile.
She's willing to do crazy things. So why not?
Yeah, to get
All right.
attention and get votes. So I want to talk about one more guy.
No, before we get to the guy, are you talking about Cahill?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because he will be the coup de grace here because I've been hoping we can save him to last.
Yeah.
You mentioned the black ladies. Gorgeous. Joelle. Okay. Joelle, they put her on because they wanted two sassy black women.
Sure. Yes. They wanted to fill the sassy black woman
they
quota.
needed to fill the sassy black woman, thing there, right? So they get her and her friend. And then they seem to get those two to turn on each other. But the thing Joelle said, she goes, one day they told us to just walk. It's like, hey, go play around with those parallel bars. Producer comes in, just go there and play with those parallel bars. And they're looking at it going, we don't know what to do with parallel bars. And they said, just go over there and mess around with the parallel bars. And she's telling her friend, girl, don't get on that thing. You're going to break it. That's just two wooden sticks. You're going to break it. So sure enough, she goes over there and she can't hold herself up because she's too heavy and she falls. And Joelle makes the point. She goes, it was a solid concrete floor. But when she fell, they did the camera shake to make it look like when she fell, the whole building shook. Right. Apparently, that's a technique they used a lot. Like they were always waiting for him to fall and do the camera shake. Right? So they were always making the. Yeah. It makes me so angry, man. It just really does.
They're so lucky that nobody died. That honestly, I know that sounds dark, but I watch this thing and I'm just like, these people, how can you push them so hard with no recovery? And they ate nothing. And then they lost all this weight and then all the skin and the whole thing. And like, none of it is sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's not good. And you're right. The fact that no one died is a miracle. And you would think after the woman had organ failure that they would have said, hey, we need to change a few things. But doesn't matter. Heisinger said everything was fine. I don't know what, it made no sense. And notice in the thing, Bob Harper was trying to distance himself from the whole thing going, I don't know. They were doing all this stuff. No, you're not innocent. None of them are innocent here. Okay.
I think the only time that Bob got emotional was when he talked about his heart attack, that Jillian was the only person who didn't reach out to him. And he had I was like, okay.
He that's how narcissistic he was. The one time he shed a tear in the whole documentary was that Jillian didn't reach out to him when he had a heart attack. Right. Geez, I wonder why. Maybe it's because you're as bad as she is or worse. Right?
I don't know. I'm sure there was a dynamic there. I'm sure they were competitive. You know how co-stars get on things like that.
Yeah. All right. And
she got the endorsement for one thing and he got the endorsement for the other thing. And, I'm sure that.
But she was much bigger than him because, right? I mean, you would hear her name.
I don't know. I feel like he was pretty big. Like, he made it on Oprah and like he was on Ellen all the time. Like, I think he was pretty big.
But wasn't she also?
Yeah. I mean, I think they both really did it.
All right. Okay. So Cahill.
the guy, Danny Cahill, from the guy from Oklahoma. People have been texting me, Allison Sobchak, hey girl, texting me yesterday. I said, oh, we're about to cover this. And people have been writing me on Twitter and on Facebook, and I'm sure they've been writing you too.
Yeah.
How can we reach out to him? Because I feel like, again, the whole discourse around diet and exercise was so toxic on The Biggest Loser. And you have this voice of reason approach to actually help people. And I was like, well, we need to get our audience writing to Danny Cahill. And so I'm going to make sure that Leona puts his face. He's not active on X from what he has a profile, but he's not active. He is active on Facebook. So I'm going to get Leona to put his Facebook profile. But he was the one where, he was the biggest loser of The Biggest Loser. He lost the most weight of any contestant. And then now has put on all the weight and then some. And
yeah. And look,
your heart goes out to him.
Here's the deal. I've helped a lot of people here for free. Danny, if you get this message, if anyone gets it to you, I don't want any publicity from this. People could get you in touch with me quietly. I'm more than happy to help you, and we never have to talk about it. And I just want to make this very clear. You will pay me not one dime, period. And I will never exploit you. We'll never have to talk about it. Nothing. Okay? If you want to talk about it, that's up to you. I'll never talk about it. And the proof is in the pudding. I had some of the biggest names in the industry work with me, and I might know 5 names, right? Because they talk about me in a good way, which I'm glad. But I never talk about my clientele. Period. I did 3 phone calls today. Mark, Matthew, sounds like the Bible, and Nicholas. I talked to, and Sherry, 4 people today, right? Helped 4 people today. I'm not telling you their last names. I'm not telling you where they live or what they do. Those were paid consults, but you understand that I have a bunch of people that I don't talk about that I coach on the side. They couldn't afford me edgewise. Right? But that was my commitment after cancer. Danny Cahill, I'm offering you that. You will never pay me a dime. Not one penny. As long as you get Anna to keep sending me cheesy puffs. That's all right. You got to do. Look, I'm not saying anything. If Anna
couldn't have cheese bites on The Biggest Loser.
No, they wouldn't let you have cheese.
So we couldn't have coffee from Pure Coffee Club.
Well, my coffee was supposed to be illegal.
Yeah.
Right. I don't sell any stimulants, so they could have had my vitamins. They could have had all of it.
And maybe your vitamin D is too high in calories because they wanted everyone to eat under 800 calories, but then exercise 6,000 calories.
It proves that you can do calorie in, calorie out as long as you're doing it. But look at Danny Cahill, bigger than he ever was.
So I have a question for you. 2 questions before we talk about delicious Eat Happy Kitchen cheese bites. First of all, they said, Dr. Huizinga said, he noticed that the more you exercise, the more your appetite was suppressed. And I was confused by that because I thought exercise made you hungry.
Exercise can suppress your appetite for a while, but eventually your brain takes over and you have to eat. So
was he saying like, as long as I kept them exercising physically all day long, it would help to suppress? It made no sense to me.
No, and I thought he was smarter than that because you exercise hard enough, you won't be hungry for a couple of hours sometimes after exercise.
But then you'll be ravenous later in the day.
Yeah, but then you get ravenous. And these people, if you notice, I've never seen so many people fall on the treadmill in my life, and I've been in this business for
frightening. Somebody could have broke their tooth out. Like, I was just like, what is happening?
I never saw so many people throw up. Like I said, every time I saw it, they had them with the hat on and the life vests that didn't fit. I told Serena, I said, yeah, they always bring them near water so they can put a life vest on them that won't fit, just to make them look weird. I don't agree with any part of that show. And those 2 smug producers, I met one of them at the Adam Carolla show.
Yeah.
Once. And he blew right past me. He wouldn't even shake my hand.
Well, he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh yeah, they're gazillionaires, those guys.
Absolutely gazillionaires. And,
But I'm
and
glad
when
that
they said it went global with all the other versions, I was like, oh, they made so much money.
oh yeah, yeah.
Stupid money.
And you know what I found funny, because I'm a big Allison Sweeney. Is it Sweeney? What's her name?
I
Allison.
think her name was Allison Sweeney, right?
Yeah.
She's so pretty.
I love her. I think she's one of the most gorgeous women on the planet. And I see her a lot on Hallmark.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Hallmark. Yeah. She was playing a little too good. I get it. She's got to make a living in Hollywood. She needs to, she's a network television person. I get why she had to do what she did, but she could have just not been on the thing at all, which I think would have been the better thing to do. Right? She didn't get any points for being on, because she could have said more than she said.
Right.
And
she's not going to. I'm sure she had her lawyer off camera too. I don't
no,
blame her.
they all none of them went there without an attorney. Bob
Because
Harper,
the fact of the matter is, it didn't age well.
no.
For as much of a cultural phenomenon as it was, it didn't age well.
And I would tell people all the time, they would go, well, Vin, these people are losing 100 pounds like in 5 minutes. It's like, no. These people will all gain it back.
Right.
Until the one woman showed up and she was too thin.
Oh,
right?
They just glossed over that.
Yeah. That was I remember that being a big story at the time. She had been an athlete in college. So she was a collegiate athlete at one point who ended up getting hurt and getting fat. The thing people don't realize about people who make it into the pros or even the college ranks, their brains are different. I can say our brains. I was a collegiate athlete. Our brains are different. We can withstand pain without even thinking about it. We can withstand shit that other people couldn't imagine going through. Right?
Right.
And she took it to an extreme level.
Right.
Right? She did. And I love the fake, like Bob Harper was getting ready to clap and then he didn't clap.
Oh my
they
God!
Saw her
when Tracy, no, that happened when Tracy lost weight, but because she was she got the villain edit that season, he went to go clap for her, but then couldn't because everyone hated Tracy.
Oh, but the other one, yeah, that was the fake. I'm not going to clap. But then the other one was
when she came out and they were like, "Oh, she's too thin."
Oh my God! They saw her backstage before the show.
Of course.
You've been backstage. You know how it works.
Of course. They all hugged and said, hey, and the whole thing.
Yeah. Hey, glad to see you again. We know how all this works.
Right.
That's why I'm watching the show going, okay, this didn't happen. That didn't happen. Heisinger had an attorney right off camera. Right. I'm sure Bob Harper had an attorney off camera. Allison Sweeney. They all had attorneys right there. I guarantee it. If they didn't, they're stupid.
Right.
Right. I mean, when we were doing Fatta Documentary 1, we had a fact checker on set. So when Gary Taubes was saying something, Nina Teischo's was saying something, we're in the background and we would stop him sometimes and go, okay, you said A, B, C, and D. And this is what we can come up with. Would you like to change what you said? And they're like, no, look here, here, and here. They knew their shit when they came on set. Right? And then we would have to verify because I didn't want to have to cut them out of the movie. We were verifying things. That's why it takes so long to shoot these people. You would think, oh, these interviews can be done in an hour and a half. No, it could take 8 hours. You got to keep stopping, check, make sure, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I look, I think Jillian can sue all she wants, but they go before these documentaries.
I'm sure they had her sign her life away too. There's nothing to sue. The documentary is just reporting on the documentary and stuff that already exists out there in the news. Yeah.
This is an extremely pungent version of my booch. I think I might have gone too far.
Woo! Are you going to do you have the apple cider vinegar vapors?
I'm telling you, this stuff is changing between this and the raw milk kefir I make. And I get that kefir to extra stinky. I mean, it smells like a cow pasture by the time
You're
I
getting
put it
all
in.
that good bacteria in your body.
Oh, I'm full of bacteria.
I love it.
I'm telling you, I'm loving the way I feel. I've been doing this for what, 3-4 months now, just getting more fermented food in me.
I honestly, if you had told me even 5 years ago, Vinnie Tortorich would become this crunchy kombucha kefir motherfucker,
Well, I was
I would be
already.
like,
I've been a kefir person or a kefir person for about 25 years.
I didn't see it coming.
No, that's kind of the only dairy.
He's high on the booch, y'all.
I love the booch. No, my booch. I'm pretty sure you could put a match to my booch.
I know, to burn the house down.
It'll
Meth lab.
like gas, like before it even gets to the thing.
Oh my God, Vinny.
I'm gonna see if I can burn my booch. That sounded weird, folks.
Booch is a hot market right now. You could do a booch, sugar-free booch.
Oh, look, I'm not making anything else, Anna. I'm not. But yeah,
I know.
my booch has less than 1 gram of sugar in it because I've had the 3 grams of sugar booch from the store.
Yeah.
Oh no. This has, I've gone way overboard.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, I have 23 bags of Anna Vocino cheesy bites coming.
23 bags.
I got.
Oh yeah, you do.
And then 9.
21 bags.
12 and 9. 21. What did I say? 23?
Yeah.
Okay. 21. By the way, Anna Vocino sent me 9 bags. She sent me the variety pack, and I bought the 12 pack. Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you for
And I eat 1 bag of this every single day of my life.
Oh my God, I love it.
So in the next 15 days, I need to order again. And again, and again. And you'll go, geez, Vin, that's a lot of money. No, it's not. When you think about what you're getting, when I leave the gym,
it's real cheese.
It's real cheese. One thing has, a serving has 10 grams of protein. So if you eat the whole bag, it's 20 grams of protein. And am I making that up?
Yeah, it's 11 grams per serving, and there's 2 grams. So yeah, it's 22.
Yeah. All right. So I leave the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I let it sit in my car, and it heats up. Now it gets it's been pretty hot here. It gets a little rain.
I personally don't love that, but I'm glad that you do.
Yeah. I get my car and I tear it open. I don't do the 1 serving. I crunch those bad boys all the way home from the gym.
Okay.
That's the way I like to do it.
Great. I love it.
Yeah. I love these cheese bites. As a matter of fact, I can't wait for football season to start because I'm going to have those. I call them cheesy puffs, cheesy bites. What do they actually
They're
call
just
it?
Cheese bites. Just
cheese
cheese
bites.
bites.
They
called them
taste
cheese
like
crisps because originally they were going to be flat like crackers, but we couldn't get it to work. So now they're bites. They're bites because they are little bites.
What they are is delicious.
Thank you.
So go to Eat Happy Kitchen and get these things right now. You can also get the gravy. She calls it sauce. And you can get, listen, you got to get yourself the powder because football season is upon us. You're going to want to do the wings, and you're going to want to use the barbecue for the wings, and you're going to want to use the dill to make your dressing to dredge the wings through.
That's right. So
go get everything Anna Vocino's selling. For me, you know what to do. Go to VinnieTortorich.com. Vinnie Tortorich /VIP. No, VinnieTortorich.com/VIP is where you want to go because we're going to be opening up that VIP group really soon because I'm almost done with the workouts, and then you'll be able to get them for free by being in the VIP group. So do that. Rate and review this podcast. We're going to do a little more of Mr. Jelly Roll here. So on behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with